Welcome. It's your man God of Docs back with another episode of The Audible. Hope you've all had a very good day. Yes. I know that I have. I want to have a very good evening too. Hmm, Got something in store. But anyway, we're going to continue our breakdown of the NFC North. Yesterday, we kind of started out in a very good way, talking about the Detroit Lions. Who I see as one of the up and coming teams in the NFC. I have them kind of penciled in. Penciled, keyword being penciled. Penciled in is one of the teams I see making it out of this division and making a playoff bid. Now, I don't see any team in this division going very deep into the playoffs because they all have some flaws. But hey, every team has flaws. But we're going to be really focusing in on tonight is the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears are a team who made a lot of wholesale changes this offseason, considering the amount of money that they had. Hold on for a sec. Let me kind of make sure I'm good. How you doing, Miss Murphy? Miss Murphy, let me ask you a question since it's just me and you. Hmm. Should I go live in the other space to address something tonight, or should I wait till Friday? I'll let you decide since you're a day one. But kind of moving back. Chicago Bears are a team I see being on the rise in the NFC. They made a lot of wholesale changes this offseason. Some will have a long-term impact on this team. Some were just bodies being put in place. Nothing too serious, but we're going to kind of break it down. And as always, as we break down these teams, we like to start with the quarterback position, the most important position on the field. And Chicago's offense begins and ends. And pretty much this team's future begins and ends with Justin Fields. Justin Fields had a very up and down year. I say no, save it for the front porch. Okay, Miss Murray. Okay, I'll save it. I'll save it. Now see who else comes in the room. We'll do. I'll do a vote at the end of the show. We'll see. Because anyway, all right. So yeah, Justin Fields, quarterback, had a very up and down year last year. Started the season off kind of rough. I didn't agree with the coaching, and that was a part of the issue I saw with the Chicago Bears. I think Justin Fields, when he was able to be unleashed, namely, good take on the court. Yes, for those who how you doing, Gator Girl? Those who haven't don't let others actually take you off your schedule. Yes, Miss Murph, but I'll save it for the end. I'll do a vote at the end of the show because this kind of needs to be discussed, and I got plans. But yes, for those who haven't been made aware, Anthony Richardson, rookie quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, has been named starter. But we're gonna kind of keep focused on the Chicago Bears tonight, and we'll kind of get into some other NFL news towards the end of the show. Yeah, I think Justin Fields had a very up and down year. I like when they made the change as far as the coaching philosophy of making him more of a Lamar Jackson type guy that uses his legs, can also use his arm, get him out of the pocket, get him from just standing back there. For one, you didn't have a very good offensive line in Chicago. Offensive line got a little bit better, but nothing too drastic, nothing too crazy. As far as like some of the pieces that they brought in, I do like a couple pieces on the offensive line. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit later in the show. But I like what I saw when they was able to unleash Justin Fields, let him be more of a freeform type quarterback, not keeping him in the pocket behind a very bad offensive line. I like, especially, I'm a Cowboys fan, and I had an up close view of Justin Fields unleashed, and it's a lot to be concerned about if you are an opponent of Justin Fields. Now, whether the team keeps that same philosophy going into this season, I'm not sure. Because the licks kind of added up. Justin Fields ended up getting hurt towards the end of the season. You don't want your quarterback out there taking big shots, running the ball. It doesn't lead to a very long career. And when you draft a guy as high as they drafted Justin Fields, you want him to be around for a very long time to lead your franchise. I like what I saw from Justin Fields when they did unleash him. He didn't have a lot of high quality receivers to throw to, and they kind of addressed that this offseason. in regards to the trade for DJ Moore. DJ Moore traded from the Carolina Panthers. They got a lot of first round picks, a lot of draft capital for him. Also, bringing in DJ Moore is a legitimate number one receiver. If you look at the receivers they had listed at the top of the depth chart last year, we're talking about Chase Claypool and what's his name, Darnell Mooney. Very good number two slash number three type receivers. But you finally give Justin Fields, give him a number one receiver, a true number one receiver who can play with just about any style of quarterback. If you watched the Carolina Panthers last year, DJ Moore had a pretty good season considering you had Baker Mayfield, you had Sam Darnold, you had PJ Walker throwing him the ball. He still had a pretty good year. Hasn't really had a very great quarterback when he was with Carolina. I think the connection between him and Justin Fields is going to be very key to the Bears' success this upcoming season. Like I said, I do like them bringing in DJ Moore to be able to kind of get the draft capital that they got in return. Sets this team up not only for the present, sets this team up for the future. I could see the Chicago Bears in maybe a year or two ascending to the top of this division. I don't think they're there yet, but like I said, we're going to keep breaking down this roster, and I'm kind of give you my final prediction on the Chicago Bears for this upcoming season. Like I said, the receiving core is got to be, the biggest change. Like I said, bringing DJ Moore. You still keep Darnell Mooney. You have Chase Claypool. I like Dante Pettis as a 4-5 receiver. You do have, like I said, you do have options. Like I said, DJ Moore is more of the complete number one receiver. Mooney is more of a slot guy. Chase Claypool is a big body receiver that can really be exploited in the red zone. You saw that when he was with Chicago. Hopefully we'll see a lot of that this year from this receiving core. I think upgrading the receiving core was going to be very key. Now, when you look at the rest of the offense, I do like Cole Kmet as a tight end. Not very explosive, but very reliable receiver, pretty good blocking tight end. I do like them bringing over former Packer Robert Tonyan. Run them two tight end sets. Tonyan has pass catching ability, pretty good in the run block also. Now, the running back room kind of leaves a lot to be desired. They moved off of David Montgomery. He signed elsewhere, but they did bring in Deontay Foreman, who had a pretty good year in Carolina. I don't think he's going to be able to match the production he put up in Carolina because the offensive line is a little bit better, and keyword being little. But with the amount of money that they have, I want to say Chicago Bears went into the offseason with the most salary cap space. You thought they would have made a bigger splash along the offensive line, not only to help the run game, but to also keep your quarterback upright. I think if you're going to have, you're going to draft a quarterback high and you're going to make him your franchise quarterback, you need to invest heavily into the offensive line, making sure he can be successful in this league. When you look at the offensive line, it's pieces to like. I kind of like Tevin Jones at guard, like Nate Davis at guard. I like Cody Whitehair as center. I mean, he's okay. They did draft a rookie right tackle, Darnell Wright, out of the University of Tennessee. He's a very big body on the outside, very good at run blocking, pretty good at pass pro, based on what I saw last year from UT. And like I said, they made some additions. I think the offensive line is going to be a tad bit better. But I still think they need to possibly next offseason probably look at adding maybe another tackle. Left tackle, Braxton Jones, he's okay. But you can always find upgrades at that position. I think you spent draft cap on the right tackle this year. I think they might be looking at left tackle as a point of emphasis next year. But like I said, the offense, for the most part, has improved. When you look at him overall, I think Justin Fields is going to get better this upcoming season. I like the fact that they upgraded his wide receiver room. The running back room leaves much to be desired, but if you're going to be running a Baltimore Ravens-ish type offense with Justin Fields, who you have in the backfield is not necessarily that important. If you're not a Baltimore Ravens fan, can you name the starting running backs in that offense? Yeah, I mean, you're probably not. But we moved to the defensive side of the ball, and this is where the problem at with the defense. They brought in a lot of guys. I'm not gonna lie, they spent a lot of draft capital drafting on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of the money they did spend in the offseason was focusing on the defensive side of the ball. I do like some of the additions, but I do have some questions. The biggest questions I have in regards to the Chicago Bears defense has to do with the defensive line. When you look at DeMarcus Walker, Andrew Billings, Justin Jones, and Travis Gibson, not a lot of pass rush, not very solid in run defense. Um, I thought they would have spent a little bit more time and attention to the front end of their defense, because they did spend enough time and attention addressing the linebacker core. We're going to talk about them in just a second, and that secondary, which young but it has a lot of potential. But I thought they were going to spend a lot more time and attention to the defensive side of defensive line. It just doesn't seem like it. It just doesn't seem like none of these guys scare me. Most of these guys, we're talking about, especially DeMarcus Walker, Travis Gibson, more of rotational pass rush guys, situational maybe pass rush guys, not guys you see. I don't see anybody along this defensive line that I can pencil in for even 8 sacks this upcoming season. Now I may be wrong. They may explode. They may take off in this scheme, but I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think if Chicago, if they're going to be able to kind of get pressure and get pass rush going, they're going to have to bring a lot of heat from the linebacker position. And when you look at the linebacker position, 2 big additions to the linebacker core. Bring in linebacker TJ Edwards, and you bring in middle linebacker from the Buffalo Bills, Tremont Evans. Very athletic linebacker core. Also in that linebacker room, Jack Sanborn, more of a coverage type guy. But when you have a Tremont Evans, you have a TJ Edwards, and you have Sanborn out there, you have guys that can move around the field, blitz if need be. I wouldn't spend a lot of my time blitzing Tremont Evans. Maybe TJ Edwards can become more of a pass rushing threat in the scheme. But the scheme Chicago typically runs is more of a cover 2 shell. When you watch Chicago, it's not really built on getting after the quarterback. It's not really a man type defense style that they run. It's more of a bend, don't break. And a lot of times last year, okay, I'll change that. I was over here doing something. Is this better, Gator Girl? Is this one better? Hold on. Is that better? That puts you in better spirits. That puts you in better spirits. Hopefully so. Hopefully so. But yeah, Detroit. Chicago's defensive scheme is, like I said, more of typical cover 2 shell, bend, don't break, don't give up the big pass. It's not really a pass rush team, but I think if Chicago is to take the next step, is it going to take the next step? I don't think the defense is going to be able to take that next step this year. I think more or less next year, spend a lot more attention to the defensive line, bring in bring in some more pieces along that defensive line, and I think this defense is in prime position because I like the addition of TJ Edwards. I like the addition of Tremont Evans, especially in that linebacker room. You got guys that can fly across the field, move side to side, are very good in pass coverage, can cover tight ends out of the backfield, can cover running backs out of the backfield. Tremont Edmonds, in limited spots, may be able to cover a big slot receiver. He's that athletic enough to do it. Like I said, this is team is not very aggressive with the blitz packages. It's not very aggressive as far as getting after the quarterback, and I think it's going to hurt them. I think the defense is probably the biggest question mark I have when I look at the Chicago Bears roster. Like I said, it's a lot to like in certain spaces, but unless you're changing the defensive scheme as far as like the mentality and the approach that this defense typically plays, you're going to struggle. And when I say you're going to struggle, like we're going to talk about the back end of that defense, it's a lot to like. I like Jalen Johnson. I like Kyler Gordon. I like Jaquan Brisker. I like Eddie Jackson, the vet. It's a lot of youth. They did spend some draft capital on some young cornerbacks. I ain't gonna really break them down because I didn't really know who these guys were. But early reports is they like what they see from them, like what they see from them. But the thing about having young cornerbacks with a scheme that is more zone heavy than man heavy, you're hoping that these guys are are very good at recognizing plays, recognizing routes, or recognizing how to properly play the zone. Um, I think the best out of the group has got to be Jalen Johnson. I think you got to be penciling him in as probably receiver number one. I do like strong safety Jaquan Brisker, more of a in the box type safety. Eddie Jackson, has gotten a little bit older, a little bit slower, but still a playmaker back there. I'm curious to see how this secondary kind of matures throughout the season. Like I said, I think the defensive line is going to be the downfall of this defense. I think this defense is going to struggle to get off of the field, and it's going to put a lot more pressure on the offense to produce. Like I said, even in the games where Justin Fields was lighting up, they took the leash off of him and let him go. I'm namely referring to my Cowboys game. The defense still couldn't stop anybody. Defense still couldn't stop anybody. And like I said, I don't think they got any better on that side of the ball. And for that reason, like if I like my hope was, that they were going to be able to add a little bit more oomph to the defensive side of the ball, because I think Justin Fields is in a prime position. If they keep him running the same speed they was running in the middle of the season, I think he's in prime position to have a breakout year. But it's not going to be much of a breakout year if your defense can't get off the field. Your defense can't get off the field. Like I said, I like the addition of DJ Moore, true number one receiver, a Pro Bowl receiver in this league, can run all the routes, can get over the top also. But the defense is going to be the downfall. And when you think about the NFC, you're talking about the offenses. Let's just look at their division. You think about the offenses they're going to be matched up against, even in their own division. You're not going to be able to have this bad of a defense and think you're going to overcome the Minnesota Vikings and their offense. You're not going to overcome the Detroit Lions and their offense. I can make an argument, and we'll do that when we get to the Green Bay Packers, that you're going to have a hard time stopping Jordan Love. Based on the reports I'm seeing and early footage of Jordan Love, they might have something there in Green Bay. It might be, I'm not going to say Aaron Rodgers 2.0, but I don't think it's going to be that great of a drop off for first year starting quarterback anyway, Jordan Love. So I think Chicago is going to struggle, battling the offenses in their division. When you look at their schedule, they're going to be matched up against some very talented offenses, and I think this defense is going to struggle throughout the year. I think the defensive line, they're going to have to, for me, get more blitz happy. Maybe sending 5 or 6 guys on a routine basis to kind of shore up the youth on the back end of this defense, because I think if you don't have a pass rush, that back end is going to get exposed. Like I said, I like some of the talent they have back there. I like the linebacking core. I think the linebacking core is clearly the strongest part of this defense, but all that sideline to sideline is not going to mean nothing. You guys going to get wore out if you can't get off of the field. You can't get off the field. So, but for me, I see Chicago. I mean, I think they're going to be an improved team, but I don't think it's going to be much improved. I'm looking at Chicago maybe 2 years down the road, once they really cash in, if they're able to cash in properly on the draft capital that they brought in, bringing some more pieces along the offensive and defensive line. I think Chicago could be in the conversation for the tier 2 in the NFC. Right now, it'd be a hard sell for me. Or even a Chicago Bears fan. It'd be a very hard sell for them to be like, hey, we can see the Bears in the playoffs. Nah, I don't see the Bears even being in the conversation. I got this team really breaking down maybe 7-10. I think this is a 7-10 team, and it's not nothing to be ashamed of. It's a losing record. But this team is clearly on the rebuild. If they try to put the shackles back on Justin Fields, I think the record will be worse than that. I think let him play, let him get out there, let him make moves, let him make plays outside of the pocket, do design runs, do more design bootlegs, because you had a lot of success last season when you was doing that. Now, it didn't, mean anything in the win-loss column, but if he's going to be taking hits, let him be taking hits and not be a statue back there that's getting beat up. He's able to move, allow him to move, take advantage of his athletic gifts while he still has them. Because you try to make him a pocket quarterback, he's going to get beat up. He's going to get beat up. The offensive line is, like I said, it's marginally better, but it's still not that good to be dealing with some of the elite teams in the NFC. When we're talking about the NFC, some of the best defenses in the league reside in the NFC. When we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants. You can even put Washington Redskins in that conversation as far as good defenses, and that's just one division. We're not even talking about the Seahawks, who I think will have a much improved division. We'll get to them when we do the the NFC West, when we break down that division. Chicago's it's hope. I would say this hope. The biggest thing for Chicago, get Justin Fields through the season, see what you really have at the receiver position. You got him a clear number one. You got to improve receiver room. I think Claypool will be better another year in this scheme. I think Darnell Mooney is a very talented slot type wide receiver. I'm curious to see how much progression we're going to see from Justin Fields. Because if we don't see much progression, Chicago may be in the market for a quarterback. Like I said, I've been saying this for all my previews for these teams that I don't have making it to the playoffs. It's going to be a very good year drafting quarterbacks next year. If Justin Fields regresses, he doesn't show a lot of improvement, I mean, they may be moving on from him. They may be moving on. But before I kind of get up out of here, I do have some more NFL news, more close to my hold on, let me put up something up, because I know that makes Gator Girl feel a little bit better. Let me put something up that makes me feel a lot better. Yeah, that makes me feel a lot. That lifts my spirits. All right. But Zach Martin has agreed to a new deal with the Dallas Cowboys. More guaranteed money on the front end. I'm happy they were able to kind of get that. Zach Martin is the best guard in the NFL, and I'm not just saying it because I'm a Cowboys fan. He clearly is the best guard. Go ahead, spend the money. I think if you're trying to win it now, which the Cowboys clearly are, you kind of go in. You want your players to be happy. Zach Martin has missed training camp. Go ahead, get him in camp. Get him right. Get his offensive line right. If you're going to really make a run at the championship, you got you gotta kind of dive in. I know you got some big contracts you're going to be having to work out in the next coming seasons, but you take care of your marquee players. And Zach Martin is not just a marquee player for the Cowboys. Is, like I said, the best guard in the NFL. You take care of him. If you're going to keep Dak as your quarterback, you got to make investments along the offensive line. I'm not sure what the offseason, that's next year. But yeah, I'm very happy as a Cowboys fan that we was able to kind of get that done. And shouts out to Jerry for kind of getting that done. So before we kind of get up out of here, I did have my question of the day. And Miss Murphy's kind of already given her answer. I don't know if Gator Girl is still listening. She might just be having the headphones on, listening from the cloud. But I feel inspired to do a show tonight in the other space. I just feel like I just want to get something off. But then again, I may wait till Friday, but I'd like to talk to my day ones first before I do that, because this is the quiet space. And matter of fact, I feel like talking just a little bit, kind of like revealing some behind the scenes type stuff. But should I go ahead and knock it out tonight and still do my Friday stuff, or just save it all for Friday and let it all out? I'll ask, because at this point, I know I've said this a couple of times on so you may want, yeah, I know, Miss Murray, that's part of that's part of it. I feel like getting some stuff off, but we'll see. We'll see. I may just go ahead and say fuck it and go ahead and set it up and let's get this party started. But yeah, it's 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 getting boring for me for to a degree. It's getting boring. Uh, and the reason why I say is kind of getting boring because I mean, for me, like what else is and when I that space is already fucked up. I mean, that's part of it. Gator. Like, I mean, but for me, it's like what else is there for me to do? Like, I, I've done it all. It's like what's the next challenge? What's the next mountain to climb? In quote unquote the YouTube space, and for me over here, this is it. Like I uploaded, re-uploaded the Tank Davis fight because I was trying some stuff. Because I uploaded it when the fight originally happened. YouTube wouldn't let me be great. But I wanted to try. I re-uploaded it and added some stuff to it, the logo, the effects, just to see what YouTube would allow me to kind of get away with. And that's really to kind of set up when major fights or major sport events happen that I can able oh yeah. I just did it to kind of see what like I said, what YouTube will allow me to kind of get away with, not get away with. How can I transform certain forms of video to kind of get it through the pipeline cleanly. Um, and plus, I just like spending more time over here anyway. But yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and I go ahead and set that up and let it be what it's gonna be. It's not gonna be a long show. Not gonna be a long show, but um, might be a little spicy. Might be a little spicy, but we'll see. But let me. When if you know what, Miss Murph, at you know it, when I do decide to hang it up, hang the jersey up in the rafters, like it's not going to even matter. Like I'm not going to be one of the people to say, yo, I'm gone for good or nothing like that. But I mean, I for me, I look at it, I've done it all. I've done it all. I've gone at it with everybody. I've done debates. I've done everything. Um, I've done funerals. I even did my own funeral. Like I've done it all. Um, I've done it all. So like, what's next? Well, who's next at this point? Like, I've done my part to I've done my part to, kind of keep the lights on over there. But, eventually, need time away. You need time away. Like, well, I mean, what's left? It's not really a challenge anymore. I know, no, mind you, when I do the show, I'm energetic and I'm excited to do them. But I mean, I mean, honestly, what's left? I mean, I mean, hell, you look at Sector Lost tapes. I've done it all. Just go here retire. Like, nah, I ain't gonna say retire, get a girl, because you say retire and you pop up in the chat and that rush hit you. But I mean, for me, like I want to do other stuff. I want to achieve different stuff. Like for me, I mean, I look at the channel as it'll never be monetized. It'll never unless I like totally revamp it. It's not going to attract a brand new audience. And that's, I mean, I'm fine with that. I understood that. Um, but I got a couple more things I got to do before I say, you know what, you know, yeah. I mean, it's probably I'm gonna take some time to really think about it, especially maybe next month. Like I've done it all. Like it's only so much fun I can have. Like what's left for me to do? I mean, that's kind of I I know, Miss Bird, and that's part of part of the joke on them. Like, you know, nobody pays attention, but I'm doing them. So I mean, I tell the people, I say, I'll never come up here and lie to you. Anything I tell you, it comes from certified facts, certified observations. Like, but I might still do build stuff over there. I mean, I do like when I do those shows. I do have an idea for a build. Matter of fact, for a build show, sometime this weekend, probably on Sunday. I do have an idea for one. Um, I like having those kind of conversations, but we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I like spending more time over here anyway. It allows me to kind of explore my creative side. Yeah, I guess. Miss Dots was like, you retired? I was like, no, I just want to say thank you. She was like, yeah, that's what it comes across like, a retirement speech. I was like, eh. uh, guards are garbage. See, I'm old school. You old school. You know where I come from. I'm like one of the original, trolls. But for me, I mean, it's like, what's left? Like, you know, what's left to do? Like, I got a couple more things I want to work on in that space, as far as like, cleaning it up. But over here allows me to be, more creative with stuff. Like, I'm working on, doing uploads now, working a lot more with the software, trying to get that right, so I can start doing some other kind of stuff to the channel. But we'll see. We'll see. They can say whatever, who ran me off, but men lie, women lie, numbers don't. But anyway, let me kind of get up out of here, because I might as well go ahead, be on some bullshit for the night, since it's on my on my spirit to do it. But then let me end y'all off with the phrase that pays around here. Before I do that, remember, like, share, subscribe. Appreciate all everybody for tuning in. Whatever, y'all know I'm not a view watcher, but I appreciate anybody that listens to my what they like to call me, boring monotone ass. I appreciate it. But yeah, let me get up out of here. Leave y'all with the phrase that pays over here. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.